On the Talkback Show, on the radio, or whatever audiovisual device you choose to use. Welcome to the GBC podcast, where we talk about the Packers in our hometown of Green Bay. We are the official podcast of the Lot 1 tailgate party, which is at Lambeau Field every home game. This is episode 136, created February 2nd, 2026. I'm John. I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin. Along with me, Jeff in Minnesota and Neil on the East Coast. Say hello, gentlemen, and tell us what you're drinking.
I was just in Seattle last summer, and I took advantage of the very fine wineries that they have in Washington State. I am having a wine that seems appropriate for the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is a conflict, and so I'm having a J. Bookwalter Conflict 2022 Red Blend.
Good evening, gentlemen. Tonight I'm having from Blue Run Spirits, Chosen Kentucky Bourbon.
All right, I've got a nice blended drink. It's blue. For the Seahawks, it's called Sea Foam. You can find us on YouTube and Twitter at Green Bay Chat and Facebook at the GBC Podcast Green Bay Chat. And just the audio is available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify by searching for Green Bay Chat. Our topic in this episode, it's the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 60. And to talk extensively about that, we brought in Tommy Driscoll from the 32 Insights podcast. Hello, Tommy. Thanks for joining us. What are you drinking,
everybody? I'm taking actually a trip out to Boston tonight. I've got the Samuel Adams Winter White Ale tonight. I'm a Boston kid at heart, going against the Patriots this weekend, but I love their beer.
Oh my, let's talk about that. How are you reconciling this game between the Seahawks and the Patriots?
Well, it's a family war. I'm the rogue member of the family this week. I'm the Seahawks fan. My entire family is Patriots fans. Luckily, we can find some common ground in the other sports in Boston.
How did you get to be a Seahawks fan then if you grew up in Boston?
I actually grew up in Illinois, a bit south of Chicago, and a kid out of Kentucky, great running back for the Seahawks, Shaun Alexander, kind of just caught my eye when I was young, learning to love the game and been rooting for him and the Seahawks since.
And you didn't want to be a Bears fan, obviously, right?
No, I know better than that.
Nice.
John, you chose the right guest this week.
Yeah, right? I mean, and plus you're in Dallas. I mean, you can also tell us how insufferable Dallas Cowboy fans are as well, right?
Oh, I don't know how much time we have tonight.
Tell us about the podcast. It's called 32 Insights. You've actually had a recent change. You've got a partner, Mo. He's not with us tonight, but how did you and Mo get connected?
I have a history of working in football. So I started working with UNT football. I was a scout for them for 3 seasons. They had a great season this year, so congrats to them. And then I moved over to TCU and worked with them for a bit. So I know your guy, Savion, pretty well. I was there with Savion, great guy. And so after that, I thought I would kind of go on to do something else, had a little bit of time before I went to grad school for sports psychology. And was looking at just random jobs. And Mo had put a listing out on Indeed, actually, for a Seahawks podcast co-host. And I felt that I could fit that bill pretty well and reached out. And just like that, we've been going for a year and a half now.
Even though you're in Dallas right now, your whole history, you are a Seahawks fan. Mo, though, I think he's in Seattle, right?
Yes.
How long have you been doing this?
Year and a half.
How do you like it?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great.
But what's the 12 culture like? I mean, what does it mean to be someone who represents this Seattle team?
Man, be loud in any way, right? Cheer loudly at home, cheer loudly in the stadium. The loyalty. Seattle loves their sports teams. It's a shame they lost their NBA team. I had my first opportunity to go up to Seattle last week, and being
Your
there.
First game ever
in Seattle.
Wait, you picked a good one to start with.
Oh, lucky me. Lucky me. I actually got to meet Mo for the first time. We went to the game together, which was great, and spent some time together and picked a great game. It was an incredible experience. But, walking around the city, I came a couple days early, and I mean, there's 12 flags everywhere. They light the city up blue and green. I mean, it doesn't get like that in Dallas for the Cowboys, as hard as that is to believe. Like, they breathe and die Seattle Seahawks up in Seattle, and it was really cool to be a part of.
It's very interesting hearing you say that, because I did live for a summer in Seattle in 1990, and it definitely was not that spirit for the Seattle sports teams there at all. And certainly Seattle has evolved as a city a lot in that time, is a lot larger than it used to be. But it's interesting to see that development, because you think about sports teams as things that are just like that way forever. And Seattle, definitely, you can sense the passion of the fans.
No, absolutely. I was blown away, and the stadium noise definitely lives up to the hype as well. I'd like to think I had a good part in it last weekend, but no, truly, it's incredible, and it's interesting to hear you say that as well, because going there, it was like I was shocked. It was awesome. It was
When
awesome.
you
They
see
were.
that stadium on TV, it's interesting because it looks like it should be a retractable roof. It looks like it either can close the long way or like something would fill in there, but it doesn't. And that canopy is actually designed to push all that sound noise into the field, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. So it just instead of going out, it bounces right off and comes back in.
And certainly it got loud, I'm sure. I mean, they're hosting the NFC Championship game. That's a major, major event. The Los Angeles Rams come into town, so it's the third time facing the Rams in the season. 31-27 the victory. Is there a point where, there's a little sphincter clenching going on that you're worried about the outcome of this game?
Oh, absolutely. I'd say about, we were standing 90% of the game, and I was probably hunched over with my hands on the seat in front of me for most of the fourth quarter. Like, oh man, I was just like, please, we got to finish the job here. And oh yes, the Rams always make me nervous. I think they have my entire life.
Did you go out in Seattle afterwards?
Oh yes.
How was it?
It was insane. There were people on cars, on statues. It was a scene.
So where do you want to be Sunday watching the game?
Oh boy, I think we're gonna host a little Super Bowl party here at
You're
at
gonna
our
stay
house.
home.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've got a nice sized house here in Dallas, so I think we're gonna host it, and I get to be in the comfort of my living room in a safe place,
Yeah.
watching the game.
And if they win, Mo is gonna you'll live vicariously through Mo. Is he gonna head out into downtown?
He might, and I'm gonna have to live vicariously through him. I said
It's a lot different these days. I mean, you can bring the phone with you. You could FaceTime with you the whole time he's down there. Yeah.
totally. I said I was telling my friends, I was like, if the Seahawks win on Sunday, I think that will be the most unproductive Monday of my entire year. I mean, man.
Well, let's talk about how you guys got there. We're heading into Super Bowl 60, and you know what we want to talk about first, just because we're biased. As Neil calls him, Little Johnny Schneider. He is actually from our neighborhood in Green Bay. He's a good guy. He's been really good to you guys.
Yeah, man, John Schneider, the way that he's been able to build a team up back in the Legion of Boom days, right? And build up from scratch. There were a lot of questions again about a bunch of different players, poor draft grades, so on and so forth. Build that up, win a Super Bowl. Probably should have won 2 Super Bowls.
You should run the ball.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I thought Marshawn Lynch was pretty good. And then for him to keep playing out, we didn't get, we didn't find the success we wanted to for about a decade there. And to pick the time to move on from Pete and to not overpay for DK or overpay for Gino and just to feel okay moving on from those guys and understanding what he had and the flexibility that he could have with letting those guys go. I mean, he killed it. But, at the same time, it's been a long time coming. Since the 2022 draft, I felt that he changed his draft philosophy big time. Instead of just reaching for needs, he started taking the best player available. And sometimes that happened to be needs, which worked out for us, of course. But I thought he's been building this for about 4 or 5 years now, and it's been great. I also think we're a little ahead of schedule, but can't be mad at that.
So you're saying it can get better?
Well, I think it can. We got a lot of young guys. A lot of guys are still on contract. I know our 22 draft class is up, but they extended Cross, which I thought was very important to get that done. They'll have some questions with K9 and Woolen coming up. I think Mafe is probably out of there, but yeah. And then, of course, we have the fourth most cap space this offseason as well in the league. So at about 76 million. So we'll have some opportunities there to maybe add another piece if we fall short on Sunday, if they decide to go all in, or that gives us some flexibility to keep some guys that are going to be needed in the upcoming years.
The Seahawks, they were in Super Bowls 48 and 49, a win over Denver, a loss to the Patriots. But as you mentioned, John Schneider put those teams together, and it's been a change. I mean, in 11 years, this is a team that kind of went down a bit and now back up. It's a different coach now. There's a lot of changes. So let's kind of talk about how this team was built. And let's start with the coach first, right? Pete Carroll's gone. Pete Carroll had a great, 11 years, 12 years in Seattle? But they bring in a guy named Mike Macdonald. Who the hell is Mike Macdonald?
Man, Mike Macdonald is a defensive savant. I mean, So towards the end, I don't know if this was known among fan bases NFL wide, but over the last 4 to 5 years of Pete Carroll's tenure in Seattle, I think fans were getting a little sick of it. I think we were seeing the same things, not a lot of adjustments, kind of sticking to his ways, and what worked in 2013 probably does what didn't work in 2018, 2019, and so on, right? There was no growth. It's always a changing league, copycat league. Kyle Shanahan's Atlanta Falcons team, when he was the OC there, they found a way to attack Seattle's cover three. And that's kind of what transitioned teams out of that LOB defense. So Pete Carroll never really adjusted. That's kind of why Shanahan always had Pete's number towards the end, because it was the same thing over and over again in San Francisco, where he'd find ways to beat cover three, mostly over the middle, and it was good with Kittle and Debo at those times with Pete there. But at one point, I remember in 2023, it was actually Pete's last season. I was early in the season, but the Seahawks just looked the same. And I was kind of looking at certain film cut-ups and such, and I stumbled upon Mike McDonald because I've been hearing about how good this 2023 Ravens defense is. And I was like, let me see what's going on. And wow, I was blown away. I mean, the way he disguises schemes, mixes it up, the balance, he likes to only rush four, dial up some blitzes every now and then. It was kind of amazing to me. And I thought, like, in the time, I was like, oh man, I really hope we can get this guy. Like, if we can move on from Pete this year, and I didn't think we would. I didn't know if we ever were going to. I was hoping we could land him, because he had that Ravens defense in 23 going, and I thought they were going to win the Super Bowl that year. I thought they had all the pieces. I thought the defense could help Lamar out, and obviously didn't get it done. But for us to be able to get Mike McDonald when we did, I thought it was the perfect situation, and I was very excited.
Any casual fans, when they heard the name Mike McDonald, said, wait, I thought he was coaching the Dolphins?
Yep, absolutely. I think that one gets mixed up a lot, which is really funny. And I'm not sure a lot of casual fans. I think there was a video in New York City. They were asking who's the Seahawks head coach, and nobody could name him. And still, so
and it's only a second year. I mean, this is incredible for a second year head coach.
And I love it. He's from Boston as well. He's a Boston guy, so I love that. Right. I think that's funny. Nobody's talking about that. I think he's excited about this one in that sense too. I mean, he'll never let you know. That's the thing with Mike. He's very textbook, straightforward. But I think deep down he probably is a little bit excited about this matchup.
And things are going well when your coaching staff starts getting coveted by other teams. Clint Kubiak, case in point, he is already planning on moving off. Talk about Kubiak there in Seattle, how this has gone, and what do you think is going to happen once he's gone?
Congrats to Clint Kubiak. I mean, obviously had a fantastic season. When he first got hired, we actually talked about it on the podcast, and I was a little bit skeptical. I was a little worried, right? Because his first few games, he was with the Saints the year before. And I remember the first few games, the Saints started just right out the gates. They were putting up 30 plus points a game. It's like, whoa. I mean, and then they kind of fell off after that. And then they became the Saints that we saw last season. But when we heard him, I was worried that, okay, are we going to start off well and then suddenly just fall off again? Because Seattle's had some problems with offensive coordinator for some years. It wasn't great. Shane Waldron, Ryan Grubb. I mean, all of it just wasn't good for us. And so I was kind of worried that we'd see some of the same trends, but no, he came in and did a great job. He had a plan. I think he was a big part in wanting to get Sam Darnold because of when they worked together or were together in San Francisco. So I loved how he came out and called the offense. A little worried about the run game earlier in the season for sure. There were definitely some concerns. The yards per carry were just concerningly low. But he found a way to get it going, started pulling the guard and center a little bit more, and he was able to open it up. So he's great at adjusting. I think the Raiders got a good one. I do. He's young. Players love him. So I think that, the Raiders have something good there, and I hope he finishes it the right way with Seattle.
He doesn't come from just a good coaching tree, but a good family tree.
Totally. It's on the pedigree, and he did a fantastic job finding balance, and especially in the postseason. The run game has come to life, and he's been able to balance that well using play action, taking deep shots when needed, keeping the defense on their heels, and just trying to catch them off guard. So I thought he's actually improved a lot throughout the season.
Looking at your offense and how your players and your team are put together, truth be told, the three of us are kind of secretly rooting for Sam Darnold to do really well, right? Because we're Packer fans and he was with the Vikings. We want to see this happen here.
We want to see Vikings fans suffer more than anything else.
But Geno Smith did not have a terrible year last year. And in fact, he grew and developed, I think, as a quarterback in Seattle. When you heard Geno's leaving, Sam Darnold coming in, what were your thoughts at that time?
I actually really appreciated what Geno did for Seattle because he made some years for us that weren't supposed to be very good fun. I had some fun watching those Seahawks teams, as average as we were, right? but those weren't supposed to be good years for us. So I loved watching Geno, as sometimes he killed me inside, but like, yeah, for the most part, I really did enjoy watching Geno. But when we moved on and made that decision, I was comfortable with it. I trusted it. And I guess the simplest way I can put it was when we signed Sam, I was like, okay, we're getting a younger quarterback who's coming off a fantastic season. I don't know what that's going to look like this year for us, but that's a very promising season. And we're getting him on a cheaper contract. At that moment, I saw him kind of in the same tier. I just put him in the same tier. I was like, okay, we're getting a cheaper quarterback who's a bit younger and probably has a higher ceiling. And I was like, let's just see what happens. I can't say I had expectations for Sam, just like everyone else. Like, I'll be honest, I think everyone was questioning what was next for Sam. Could he repeat what he did? And so I just tried to keep a level head and was just like, simple as, yeah, we're getting a younger quarterback on a cheaper deal. Could be in the same tier as Geno, though.
So with his performance this year, would you characterize him as more of a game manager or more of kind of an upper echelon, not elite quarterback, but certainly upper echelon quarterback? Where do you think he lands on this continuum?
I'm going to still put him more towards the game manager side. I think he can make some big throws when needed. We've shown it. I mean, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns in the NFC Championship game, right? Like that's not really game manager stats there, but I think for the most part, I think Seattle does set it up nicely for him. And I keep mentioning the resurgence of the run game. I thought that was huge. Just being able to balance and opening up that play action. And what Sam's been good about, though, is he's been very decisive and sometimes maybe a little too decisive, but decisive nonetheless, which I like, because the last thing I want is him to come out, be unconfident, kind of sit in the pocket, take sacks, and make poor decisions. So I think it goes hand in hand, but I think it goes back to Clint Kubiak. I think Kubiak had a plan and was able to make it easy for him. And of course, the rise of Jackson Smith and Jigba definitely helps.
Although he did have great receivers in Minnesota as well. And that was the thing. Sam Darnold looked really good last year until he completely fell apart in the playoffs. So what is it that Seattle is really doing differently with Sam Darnold that is going to cause him to win on Sunday in the Super Bowl and not have the sort of panic after being attacked? Because that's the thing. The whole rule on Sam Darnold is you've got to put pressure on him so the game is too fast. What is Seattle doing differently so that doesn't happen?
It could be a bunch of different things, right? I think it's going to have to be a combination of different things throughout the game. One, we have to get the run game going. And I'm going to be completely honest. I'm a little bit worried about that right now. I think the Patriots have 2 elite defensive tackles. And I think our interior offensive line outside of Gray Zabel is a weakness. So that is definitely a concern. And then, of course, you have to protect Sam. When we're passing the ball, if we want to get the ball down the field, make big plays, the Patriots run a lot of man coverage. So we're going to have some opportunities. You have a guy like Rashid Shaheed, you can get one-on-one on the outside. We're going to need some time so we can get down the field. Just as JSN, give him some time to create some separation. So that's going to be a big thing. Although Sam has shown that he can make some tough throws under pressure. I think all 3 of his touchdown passes in the NFC Championship game were, while he was being pressured. So that is a promising sign. That wasn't always the case this season, though. So I'd love to see that, wishful thinking that could, keep it going. But I don't want to be put in a situation where he's going to have to make pressured throws. You got to protect him and try to make it easy on him as much as possible.
One of the best things, of course, that can help a quarterback is a defense that plays at a truly elite level. Tell us about what you enjoy most about watching on your defense.
A lot of things, but from a team and schematic standpoint, I love that I can watch Seattle get pressure with 4. I think what that allows Mike Macdonald to do is mix up his defensive backs, mix up different coverages, get as many guys in coverage as possible, because you trust your defensive line to get there with 4. It opens up a lot, and it gives you the opportunity for well-timed blitzes with a bunch of different defensive backs. I think that's something that Schneider built up well. There's not a lot of corners in the NFL that can scream down the line, make a hit like Devin Witherspoon. And I don't think, and then you've got the Swiss Army knife and Eamon Worry. Drake Thomas has come on as a blitzer. And then you've got Ernest Jones as well, who's really established himself. And, he'll throw everyone. I mean, even Julian Love will come on a blitz every now and then. So the way he mixes it up is really fun. Watching them get pressure with 4 and then watching how he mixes up the DBs and different pressures and coverages in the back end, I think is the most fun.
Yeah, Nick Eamon-Worry, second-round draft pick out of South Carolina, really making a case for himself for Rookie of the Year. Is he a guy that was on your radar when the draft rolled around last year?
Yeah, funny enough, for those watching, if you can check my receipts, but we did a mock draft last year in early January, and I actually had the Seahawks taking Eamon-Worry with their first round pick. Okay. I was sold. I mean, he was an absolute specimen coming out of South Carolina, twitchy, long, athletic. He was the total package. Now, there were some concerns about his deep coverage, and I don't think the Seahawks utilize him there very much, which is totally fine because they've made it work as it is. I mean, he's been phenomenal in the intermediate, short, as a blitzer, run fit. So, we're going to take that and we're going to run with that. And Mike Macdonald has used him so well. So I'm excited he landed with Seattle. In the second round, I was pumped. I was watching that when we traded up. I was like, please be Eamon-Worry, and it was. So I was excited.
Taking a look else around your defense now, again, a big move from Dallas. They let DeMarcus Lawrence go. He comes into Seattle. How is that veteran leadership helping this defense?
It's huge. Reuniting with his old DC or his old defensive line coach in Dallas, now our DC, Arden Durd. I thought that was huge. He brings a veteran presence on the outside that we didn't have. We had a bunch of young, the past few seasons, we've had a bunch of young guys on the edge and, they flash, but we needed to find a little bit more consistency. And I thought DeMarcus Lawrence has brought that in many different ways. His leadership, his experience, he's brought more as a pass rusher than I truly thought. I like to sign him because I thought, all right, he's going to come out there. He's going to set the edge. He's going to be a good run stopper. And then he'll open up opportunities for our younger, more athletic guys. And he's actually done significantly more than I thought we were going to get from DeMarcus Lawrence this year. One, he stayed healthy, which I thought was a huge thing. That was a question with a couple of our veteran signings this year is can they stay healthy? So that was huge in itself. We won the war of attrition there. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, he's found a way to force a lot of turnovers. He's come in, found the ball. I mean, he had a 2-touchdown game against Arizona. I don't know if anybody was thinking that. He's got more touchdowns than some skill position players this year. But no, other than that, I mean, truly, just to summarize it, his leadership and his experience have been huge for us.
And then there's two guys that started out in Seattle, kind of bounced around and came back. Shaquille Griffin, now he's on the practice squad, but Jarran Reed played a season in Green Bay as well. That kind of veteran leadership are guys that are coming back to familiarity in Seattle. Are they making a big difference there, or are they just roster spots right now?
Totally. I mean, I think Jarran Reed was a huge part in developing Byron Murphy. I thought he had a very big part in that. And Byron Murphy has come into his own and become a great defensive tackle in his own right. But I don't know if he comes on as fast as he does without Jarran Reed. And the thing about Jarran Reed is he loves the logo. And I think being here before, going elsewhere and coming back, I think what that has done is some of these newer players who are coming in, he's showing his passion for playing for the Seahawks. He loves the logo. He loves being here. He loves the organization. And seeing that is also a type of leadership that I think he's bringing to the table on top of his experience. I mean, he left, but he went to good organizations and was able to have time there and win games there and bring some of that, what he learned and experienced in those organizations back to Seattle as well. And I thought that's very valuable.
And you mentioned Byron Murphy. This kind of brings us back to John Schneider, and you talked about that draft philosophy. You look at these recent draft picks, Kenneth Walker, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Byron Murphy, Nick Eamon-Worry. That's not bad drafting,
pretty good,
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Byron Murphy, I actually had a chance to, when I was at TCU, we played him in his last season at Texas, and he got through. I remember there was one play. I mean, he's really good at his corkscrew where he gets down on one knee and is able to hold his ground and get leverage on the defender. I mean, he is like just a walking muscle. I mean, he's the stockiest, strongest dude I've ever seen. But he's got a little bit of twitch up in the middle there. So yeah, he got through one time on a sack on us. And I was like, whoa. So on draft night, I'm sitting there like, I would not be mad about getting Byron Murphy here tonight. I think that would be, and I kept, I think it'd be easy for Seattle fans to compare it to the Ravens, right? We're like, all right, let's get our Justin Madubuike. Like, let's go get that strong interior presence. And he's becoming that day by day.
So obviously, defense depends on the team that you are playing. You've obviously done scouting on the New England Patriots at this point. What are the weaknesses of Drake Maye or other players on the Patriots offense that you're looking forward to the Seattle defense exploiting?
I'm just going to start with the biggest one. I think that Seattle is going to have a great opportunity to get at Drake Maye. Honestly, I don't love the Patriots offensive line as is. I thought they did a great job in the draft this year. Like Will Campbell is a great rookie. Jared Wilson, the Georgia guy, I think great picks. but I also think they're a bit inexperienced and have had some trouble with pass pro this year. And I think Seattle's got a good opportunity to get at Drake Maye. I think McDonald's going to dial up some blitzes, maybe a little bit more than he has, only because I think he trusts his corners, if needed, to cover and man against the Patriots wide receivers. And the reason why is because I'll trust Devin Witherspoon all day. If he wants to jump out and just man up on Pop Douglas or Kyle Williams or Kayshon Boutte, then you let Woolen just stick with Diggs all day. They're going to get theirs, of course. But I think in the the longevity of a game, I think you trust those guys outside against those receivers. None of those guys really pop. They're each good in their own ways, but they're nothing you have to bracket or double or really worry about, more in that sense.
And then in the other direction, what scares you about the New England offense? If New England's going to beat you, how do you see New England beating you?
I think Drake Maye. Drake Maye as a whole, but I'm more specifically his legs. I'm very worried about Drake Maye's legs. He can really get it going on the ground when needed. I feel like it's going to look a little bit like what Josh Allen does sometimes when he goes takeover mode and he just starts running and making things happen just on a whim, right? That's my biggest concern. If we get to Drake Maye, and I think we will, can we finish the job when we get there? Or is he going to scramble, make plays? Because yeah, I think the Seahawks corners can cover, but for how long? I mean, it's also the NFL. You can't cover forever. So we got to finish the job when we get there. And if we let Drake Maye run around, scramble, create extra time, and create plays on the run, that's where we're going to get into trouble.
You think, though, the Seattle defense can really rattle him? Because, again, he's a really young quarterback. And so, huge game, probably early on, there's going to be some nerves. And he might do some stupid things, too.
Yeah. And scouting Drake Maye coming out of college, that was the biggest thing. Sometimes he gets a little sporadic. There's some consistency issues there. Now, he's an MVP finalist, so not the biggest deal in the world. But I actually saw stats. So Mike Macdonald against quarterbacks who are 23 and younger. Drake Maye is 23. They are 0-8 against the Mike Macdonald defense. And it's not because the Houston Texans, where they're just going to out-talent you, line it up, I'm going to be so physical, and you're going to want to quit by halftime. Seattle is much more schematic. They're going to dig deeper. They're going to find edges, see where some weaknesses are, try to attack that, adjust as needed. I want to say he's going to be rattled, but the Seahawks are going to have to be the catalyst for that. They're going to have to start it, and they're going to have to keep it consistent because he'll settle in fast. That's the thing. Drake Maye is a great quarterback, and if you give him a drive of clean football, he'll be back in rhythm like it's nothing. He will be back in rhythm in a heartbeat. So it's going to have to be for 60 minutes. You can't get him for a half and then be like, all right, it's got to be full 60 minutes of just disruption and chaos.
What are they going to do that is going to cause you problems in offense?
Get the ball out fast. Get the ball out fast. If they can get the ball to their guys in space and their guys can create yards after that, like that's how it's going to happen. They got to get the ball out fast. And that's what the Rams did very well. They were able to protect for 2 seconds. The ball was out. They knew where they were going with it right away. They schemed it up the right way. So if the Patriots are able to get the ball out fast and consistently and get a bit of a run game going, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. The Seahawks have had some issues, especially across the middle of the field in the intermediate part. If they give him time to get the ball there quickly, that is definitely where they're going to be able to move the ball in chunk plays.
And then looking on the other side of the ball, when Seattle is moving the ball down the field, what is it that you're afraid of as far as the New England defense? If they're going to stop you, what are they going to do to prevent Sam Darnold and your offense from scoring?
They're going to stop the run and force passes. If Sam Darnold goes over 30 pass attempts, let's say 33. That's a better number. If Sam Darnold goes over 33 pass attempts, and if you just told me that right before kickoff, Sam Darnold's going over 30, I will not feel great. The Seahawks are going to have to win this game on the ground, point blank. And yes, they're going to have to beat man. Shaheed, Barner, JSN, Cup, they're all going to have to beat man coverage. And I think they will be able to do that. But they need to get the run game going. It cannot be the Sam Darnold show this Super Bowl. As great as that would be, it cannot be the Sam Darnold show.
I think the sentiment is true. It's sort of can Sam Darnold prove it? If he throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, then everybody will go, wow, he just was able to turn it on. But Seattle fans, no doubt, don't want Sam Darnold to do kind of Sam Darnold things from the past. Turn the ball over, make bad decisions, bad throws, and I think that's what probably your main concern is, correct?
Yes, the Seahawks have to stay away from third and long. They absolutely have to stay ahead of the schedule. First down is going to be the biggest down of each drive. They have to be able to get some sort of positive yards, whether it's 3, 4, whatever. They need to move forward. The penalties, they lost several opportunities against the Rams off penalties, and that cannot repeat itself in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, because I believe the Patriots will capitalize on those mistakes much better than the Rams did last weekend.
We call the special teams on our podcast the asshats, because you've watched any Packer games this year, or really in the last decade or more, our special teams have not been.
Brandon Bostic? I mean, come on.
Our special teams have had some issues.
Kind of like how the Rams had some issues as well on special teams, right?
Exactly. So, again, they're our asshats as our special teams, but how do you view the Seattle special teams? Now, you've got an elite, amazing kickoff returner, but do you feel that your field goal kicker, is this going to come down if the game is close? Are you confident in your field goal kicker? Where do you see special teams determining this game?
I think the Seahawks special teams is their X factor. I think that's what's given them the edge a lot this season. They've been in some tight games where a special teams play has completely changed the game in their favor, whether it's a punt or kick return or a missed field goal or a made field or a good punt, right? I love the Seahawks special teams, and Jay Harbaugh will definitely be a name to look out for elsewhere at some point. And
in Green Bay, baby,
yeah, I mean, I love talking about the Seahawks special teams because that truly has been their edge all season. Is they've been better on special teams in most of the games they've won. That to me is what stands out the most, is that they've been consistent. They've been very good in situations, certain situations, timely plays. I trust Jason Myers. If it comes down to a game-winning kick, he'll have my full trust. Will I be sitting? No, absolutely not. Will my heart beat at a normal rate? No, absolutely not. But I trust him. I do. Yeah, I completely trust him. I know the Rams never kicked to Shaheed last Sunday. They kicked to him
for good reason.
They kicked to him once. So yeah. I'm going to expect the same situation. The Patriots don't want to get beat like that. And I agree. I wouldn't kick to Shaheed. Just let the offense go out there. That's not how you want to get beat, because that's how you lose. I want to say it's probably going to come off a special teams play, whether it's a game-winning field goal or there's going to be a muffed punt, blocked kick. Something's going to happen on Sunday with the special teams that's going to be a significant part of the game.
In the exact opposite way we think of special teams making a difference in the game.
Yeah, we're like, oh shit, are they going to lose the game for us?
And realistically, you guys have played in San Francisco. This is a stadium you visit every year. How's Jason Myers in that stadium? Is he going to be okay?
I was actually had the privilege of being in Santa Clara for the Week 18 game to clinch the 1 seed, and he missed some kicks. It was frustrating. I mean, we won, great. Wasn't the prettiest. I mean, he missed one, I believe, from 28 in that game, just doinked it right off the post. So hopefully he can't repeat that. Outside of that, though, I mean, Jason Myers has been extremely trustworthy. The weather seems like it's going to be pretty fair, as it usually is in the Bay around this time of year. So probably be about 50-degree night. I'd say it'll probably be sunny, or sun will be going down, but I think it'd be fair kicking conditions. So in that case, I definitely trust him.
Tommy, with the podcast, I assume you're like us, that when the preseason rolls around, you're high on the season coming up. You make all sorts of picks and you have an idea of how the season is going to go. Truth be told, be honest. Where were you guys back in August? How did you view the 2025 Seattle Seahawks season?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to believe this, but I had them at 11-6. They were 10-7 last year. I thought they improved, but I wasn't too. There was a couple teams on our schedule that I thought were going to be better. So I had us at 11-6. I had us splitting with the Niners, splitting with the Rams. That was right. I had us beating the Cardinals, but there were a couple other, just AFC games that I missed on. Well, Mo had us at 14-3.
Wow.
He had us at, I was sitting there like, I don't know, but hey, he was right.
But he's a homer and you love him for it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I've got 2 of them that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
So, hey, you know what? He called it, and I got to give him credit, because I don't think I was not that high on Seattle before the season. Like I said, I think we're ahead of schedule. So I didn't think this was going to be the season that was 14-3. So I'm happy he was right, though. I've never been happier to be wrong.
At 11-6, did you have them winning the division?
I did. I actually had it coming down to week 18 against the 49ers, like we saw, but I definitely did not think it was going to be for the 1 seed or 14-3.
Did you, at that time, did you make a Super Bowl prediction?
I did. I had the Bills. The Bills, but I did not expect their run defense to be as poor as it was this year. That was wildly disappointing. And
did you have Buffalo beating?
I had Buffalo beating Philly. And you know what? Like, I'm, again, not mad about being wrong. I'm not the biggest Philadelphia guy, and they don't love me either. I've had some comments from Eagles fans that did not, they don't like me. That's fine. But yeah, I had the Bills beating the Eagles. I thought the Eagles would get back. I thought their trenches were great. I didn't see this drop off happening from them this year, but hey, again, happy to be wrong.
You have a team that you believe is on the upswing. You're not as high on them as Mo is. And I'll tell you, I had them at 10-7 in winning your division as well. But your season starts out with San Francisco, lost right away. A couple weeks later, the loss at Tampa. You're 5-2 though at the break, at the bye. How are you feeling at the bye when the team is 5-2?
Well, there were two different feelings. So after week 1, I was frustrated. I mean, the way we lost was egregious. It was brutal. Tariq Woolen forgot how to play a game of football for a whole drive. So that was extremely frustrating, but it was funny because I remember sitting there and I was upset, but I forget who was calling the game, but he's like, I have a feeling when these two teams meet again in week 18, Seattle's going to be a lot better than what we saw today. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm in. Like after that, I was like, all right, I'm back. All right, we're good. When we got to 5-2, we lost to the Bucks. That was tough because one of my best friends, he actually works for the Tampa Bay Bucks. So he let me hear about that one all day after the game, and they looked great. That was a tough one for us, though. We were missing a lot of dudes. I think that's why the Bucks were able to score so effortlessly. We were
Plus,
down.
Tampa was kind of on top of things at the time too, right? And that's a team that really slid near the end of the season.
Definitely. Yeah, Baker was amazing back then.
Yeah, we were down Woolen, Witherspoon, and Love that game against Tampa, and it looked like it. They were letting it fly all game long. So that was a tough loss, but I felt good, right? You know, we were able to score the ball real well that game, be in it, and Tampa was rolling then. So that was one of those losses where I was like, well, someone had to lose. It was a great game, and it was a competitive game. So I felt good after that, and they kept rolling.
Coming out of the bye, you have 2 amazing regular season games. You have a 24-point victory at Washington. You beat the Cardinals by 22 points. Then in week 11, you have to go to Los Angeles. You guys are feeling probably on top of the world with a 7-2 record. It's a divisional matchup. You know that you need this win, and a 2-point loss at Los Angeles. What happened there?
Too many turnovers. That was the story of the game. The Rams jumped on us right away, and I was sitting there like, oh boy, here we go. And second half adjustments completely shut down the Rams. We're able to climb back in and make a game of it. But ultimately, Sam had 4 picks that day. That was a tough one. We had a chance at the end. The Rams had a great punt. They downed us at the 1. We were able to get to like the 47, set up a 61-yarder for the win. No good. So the way I felt after it was surprisingly pretty good because with how poorly we had played, for 4 quarters to even have a chance to win it right at the end there. And it's easy for, the media and the Rams fans to talk about, oh, Charbonnet doesn't pick up that ball in the end zone. We win, we sweep. Nobody really talks about us going wide right on a kick for the win in LA after that disastrous performance. Everyone just remembers a disastrous performance. So for me, I felt pretty good. I was obviously nervous about the Rams. They're a great team. They're still a great team. But, I felt good. I was like, okay, I think we're right there with the Rams. We can hang. We just can't throw the ball 100 times.
Did you think you would go on a 7-game winning streak after that?
I did not. Now that was the fun part. I didn't see that coming. I thought we'd sneak another loss in there to just the way it goes.
Well, you almost did with the Rams. I mean, you come back, you bring the Rams back in December. That is one of the wildest overtime games ever played.
Totally. That was one of the most ridiculous football games I've ever seen. The lows to the highs I probably was sweating watching that one. And when overtime, when Puka had that long touchdown, I don't know if you guys remember that play, which I kind of alluded to earlier in the podcast with that's how we get beat sometimes, is right over the middle on those deep intermediate shots. And Puka ran it in. I was like, oh man, all that for this. And for us to come down, and I was happy we went for 2. I was like, you know what? We lose. That's fine. Let's just go for it right here, right now. And hey, they drew up a great play and it worked out. And we also almost lost to the Colts with Phillip Rivers. That was That was an
That was
interesting game.
crazy.
That was. I don't know what happened in that game, but
So, what point of the season is it where the clouds part and the light illuminates on you that you realize this is magic? This is going to happen?
probably after the 49ers game in week 18. It
Not
hit
till
me
week 18. Okay.
Because the way the 49ers offense was playing going into that game, I was nervous. It's like, wow, they're rolling. They just hung 42 on the Bears. I was like, oh man. And for us to hold them out of the end zone is when I was like, okay, we might have something here. Like this, I mean, they on the road, that place was rocking. And for them to do that was really, really stood out to me. But the real moment, like, and of course, this is really easy to say one game away, but when I realized, like, oh man, this team, I think this team could win the Super Bowl, was the divisional round 41-6 against the 49ers. That's when it hit me like this team might do it.
What about during your bye week? You're watching the wild card games or even going into that. Was there a team you did want to see in the divisional round or a team that you didn't want to see in the divisional round?
Totally. It was the Rams. I didn't want to see the Rams in the divisional round.
Okay.
It was anybody but the Rams. So I was rooting for the Panthers, I was rooting for the Packers, and I was rooting for the Niners. I knew at some point we would probably see the Rams, but I didn't want it to be first game of the postseason. Like I wanted to get a game under our belt because a lot of our guys don't have experience in those moments. And so I wanted to get one game under our belt and then go play LA. And I think it worked out to perfection because what they took away from that Niners game was a boatload of confidence. And I think they rode that right into the NFC Championship game, and it showed.
You know, Tommy, we were also looking for the Packers to go to Seattle that weekend as well. There's some playoff ghosts that we needed to
exorcise the demons.
we needed demons to exercise. So maybe next year we'll figure out a way to get Green Bay and Seattle to match up in something like that. You said you didn't want to play the Rams. We talked about that championship game. That's just a great night for you. This is a team that has won 9 games in a row. Are you ready to win the 10th?
I'm ready to win the 10th. I hope they are. I hope they are. That's for sure. Yes, like winning 9 games in a row is great. Obviously, the biggest concern you have is like, did they peak? Was that divisional round the peak? Was that it? Did we peak right then and there? And where do we go from there? Right. But yeah, I think they're ready to win their 10th. I think Mike McDonald will have the guys ready to go. Ernest Jones, the captain of the defense, I think we'll have him ready to go. He's a former Super Bowl champ with the Rams. He's been there, and I think he'll have the defense ready to go. And I'm just hoping the offense will be ready to go. I think that's the biggest question, right? I know we know what we're getting from our defense. It will always be, until the end, what are we going to get from our offense?
You also have the advantage of being extremely healthy. You don't have really any major players on the injured reserve.
Yeah, the Charbonnet injury was a tough one. That was definitely a tough pill to swallow. But, luckily Kenneth Walker came out and continued to show us why he was the best running back on our roster. I love Sharbs. I think he brings a great element, something that K9 doesn't bring. But ultimately, I believe that Kenneth Walker is the best back on this team, and he's taken that just lead role by storm. There's no more split. And I think he's owned that, and I thought he's handled it very well. So, and then otherwise getting Arroyo back was huge. Torrey Horton was a rookie for us that came on earlier in the year and produced very well, scored a lot of touchdowns, showed a lot of promise, but unfortunately we lost him for the year. He was a good little field stretcher for us that I think we were missing, would have been a good pair with Shaheed. Kubiak actually talked about that, how they wanted to pair those two and stretch it and then let JSN and Kupp work underneath along with Barner. So that was a tough one. But other than that, I mean, in the grand scheme, everyone's going to have injuries, and I think the Seahawks did win the war of attrition this year.
All right, Tommy, it's time to put it out there. Put your nuts right on the table. Super Bowl 60, Sunday, February 8th, Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. Seahawks, Patriots. Give me a final score and an MVP.
I've got the Seahawks winning the game 20-16. So the Patriots are going to cover that 4.5, but the Seahawks are going to go ahead and win the game 20-16. It's going to be low scoring, a lot of field goals. And my MVP is going to be Ernest Jones. I think Ernest Jones is going to make a big play in this game. Could be a couple big plays, but I feel like he's ready for this moment more than anybody is. I think it's just going to be defensive warfare.
All right. You're letting the Patriots cover the spread, but you're taking the under on the point total.
Yes. I think it's going to be a slugfest, a little slugfest.
And as we mentioned earlier, hey, we're rooting for Sam Darnold. That is literally the only interest we have in this game, right, Neil?
No, I like the game. I like it. I'd like to see, just as I noted, see little Johnny Schneider win another one. But fundamentally, fuck the Patriots, fuck Mike Vrabel, fuck anyone who's ever interacted with Tom Brady, fuck all of those motherfuckers. I'm tired of the Patriots. I don't want to see them win. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Seattle defense is historically good. Their special teams are going to make some plays, maybe even on the first play. And Drake Maye is going to play like a second-year quarterback. It's going to be a fun game, just sort of like when the Seahawks played the Broncos and annihilated the Broncos at the beginning of the game. That was really fun because I hate the Broncos as well. Let's see the same thing from Seattle in the Super Bowl on Sunday.
I really feel, Neil. I think this is going to be a bit higher scoring game. I think, Tommy, as you said, with the field goals, I think there's going to be opportunities here. I think special teams is going to play in, not your asshats. Those are our asshats. Special teams. But I think the defense is going to score. I'm looking at one or two defensive scores here because either Sam Darnold is going to do Sam Darnold things or Drake Maye is going to do Drake Maye things, and they're going to turn the ball over. Whether it's a pick six, they're going to fumble. The defenses on both of these teams can be dominant. That's where I see more points coming from. I think the offenses will move the ball somewhat once kind of the nerves wear off and things like that. But I think, like I said, I'm looking at one, maybe two defensive touchdowns. Maybe we get a fat guy touchdown. Who knows, from the defensive line. Something. Shahid, a kick return, if they're stupid enough to kick to him, he's going to make him pay. Kind of expect the unexpected in this one. Like I said, maybe, a lower scoring game. I'm thinking like 30-20 or something like that, Seattle. I want to see a little bit higher, a little more offense. And inevitably then, if there's a really pivotal play on defense, you might get, a defensive MVP. But wouldn't it be something for Sam Darnold to be MVP of this freaking game?
And Jeff, I did put it as a 30-10 game because, again, I would love to see the Sam Darnold MVP story arc as well, because fuck the Vikings as well.
And Neil, I'm kind of along the same lines of the score for this as well. I like Seattle. I think it's going to be a defensive matchup through the first half. I think like all your field goals in the first half, like 9-6 at halftime with Seattle up. But I think that the Seahawks are going to do a better job wearing down the Patriots, especially if you can stick with that run game the way that you talked about. I think committing to that run game is going to open things up in the second half. The play action is going to work as well for Darnold. I think he'll have a great second half. I'm looking at 30-13 as my final score. So both you cover the spread and you still hit the under on that one. But I think it's going to look like a huge defensive matchup. It's going to be one of those where you're going to get a lot of online feedback from people that are dismayed that this isn't a light 'em up game. And the defenses are going to look good. There'll probably, Jeff, be great special teams play here and there. I don't know about a defensive touchdown, but yeah, I think you guys, we like Seattle to win this one, Tommy.
All right. Hey, I'm ready for all of us to be right.
John, Jeff, and I all going with 30 points for Seattle as well. So there's unanimity.
Not discussed ahead of time either. It's a little weird.
And apologies to Pete. We made friends with Pete from the Foxborough Fellows podcast on the Patriots, and great guy to talk to. And if we go to New England next year, we look forward to hanging out with him. But we're on board for Seattle.
We didn't tell him what our picks were for
the
Super
Bowl.
No, we didn't.
Kind of left
he's
that
watching,
out.
He'll know now, right?
It'll be our little secret. Until this gets posted.
Until we go online. Yep.
I think he's got enough Patriots content to watch this week.
So is it a busy week for you, Tommy?
It's going to be a busy week. It's going to fly. Got some work arrangements coming up. We got to record our podcast tomorrow. So we'll dive into that. We're going to have a Seahawks Sports Illustrated writer come on and join us tomorrow. So that'll be good. Discuss Excellent. The game. And then back end of the week, we'll just be wrapping up some school stuff and getting ready for the game.
So there is a strong playoffs history between the Packers and Seahawks. We've mentioned that 2014 NFC Championship game that we've relived many times in our brains and are trying to forget and just can't. But you played in Green Bay 3 separate times in the playoffs. 2019, Packers win 28-23. I was at that game. 2007, the Snow Bowl game, 42-20. That is my favorite game ever at Lambeau Field that I've watched. And then in 2003, in the NFC wildcard round, we're going to take the ball and we're going to score. Also a game that I was at. And
Tommy's not
there's
old enough
obviously
for that.
there's obviously some
playoffs
history. But what I'm really getting at is In the process of becoming a fan, what was your first playoffs heartbreak for the Seattle Seahawks?
Oh, okay. I got it for you. So the Seahawks stuck into the playoffs at 7-9. It was the year of the Beastquake. So that divisional round, we went into Chicago and lost. It was like Jay Cutler and Johnny Knox and all. Yes, and that was devastating because I knew I was in Illinois at the time. So I knew I had to go to school the next day, and all my friends are Bears fans. Oh, yeah. I had to hear about it. But no, I was devastated after that one. And I know we were 7-9, but after that Saints game, beating the defending champs at home, Beastquake, I was ready. I was ready. And yes, I didn't watch 03, but of course, Matty Hasselbeck just had to say what the ball we're going to score. Al Harris a couple steps later than the end zone. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I definitely remember that. The funny thing is I do have I was 5, right? I was 5 years old when the Seahawks played the Steelers way back and in 05. And I do remember it briefly. Did I was like conscious enough to be heartbroken? No, I was not. But I do remember very vividly that was offensive pass interference in the end zone, by the way. But truly, the most conscious playoff loss was definitely division round against the Bears. So that was a tough one in 2011. And then the Bears got ended by B.J. Raji a week later. So
yes,
yes, you brought up the perfect game for us,
right? But also now looking at Super Bowl 60, this is a rematch with the Patriots, and we've talked about it a few times. Is your mantra for the week going to be run the damn ball?
Absolutely. And like you guys said, we got to exercise some demons. Yeah, we have to exercise some demons this weekend. The way I see it is in 2014, the Patriots took something from us and we got to take it back. I really do think Seattle will do it. Deep in my gut, I think they're going to get it done. And, we can make a little right for what happened in 2014 because that one was tough. I won't even lie. This is actually really funny. In 2014, after that loss, I did not even sleep for a second. I literally was up all night staring at my ceiling like, wow, I cannot believe that happened. Like, just could not believe it. I didn't go to school the next day. I was like, I can't even show face. No way. So hopefully we can find some sweet redemption for that experience this weekend.
So this is personal.
This is personal. Yes. Oh man, that one broke me. 2014 broke me. So I'm ready. This feels good. I wanted to truly. It'd been great to play a Stidham Broncos team. Don't get me wrong, but I think deep down I really wanted the Patriots because it just would feel so much better.
And with that, Tommy, we wish you the best of luck. Like I said, you got 3 Packer fans rooting for Seattle this weekend. It won't happen again, but you get it this weekend. Tommy, thank you for joining us. Everyone else, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. You can find the 32 Insights podcast. They are on Twitter. They're going to be on Twitter, right, at 32 Insights podcast. And from there, you can get links to their show. You're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Everything is 32 Insights podcast. As for us, find the GBC podcast at Green Bay Chat. That's all one word. We are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Blue Sky, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and on Facebook at the GBC Podcast Green Bay Chat. And you can follow us on any and all of those social media platforms. And may you fully appreciate the magnitude of your impending good fortune. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks for joining us, Tommy.
Thank you.